Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's start with the truth. The funnel was never real. Even when it worked, it didn't. Every GTM plan you trusted was a lie. It is not just outdated, it is not just inefficient. The funnel was built on a fantasy that buyers move linearly, that leads become pipeline, and that sales wants what the marketing sends. None of that was ever true. If you are still using a funnel, you are not just behind, you're signaling to the entire revenue team that you don't understand how GTMs actually works. This isn't just about tweaking lead gen, it's about burning down the entire mental model of how pipeline gets built. Funnels didn't fail because they aged out, funnels failed because they never accounted for the one thing that actually drives conversation: buying moments. There is no top, there is no middle, and there is no bottom. There is just this trigger, urgency, action, and conversion. That's how buyers move. And yet, we spend millions building content calendars, attribution models, and CRM scoring, all based on the assumption that the buyer journey could be controlled. It couldn't, and now it's collapsing. I've been on both sides. I have built content that generated a million leads and not $1 of trust. I've launched GTM campaigns that were beautiful but didn't close. And I've built systems that sales chased, systems that turned a $30 million organization to $150 million organization. And that's what this episode is. The final playbook, the full anti-funnel GTM system. I'm giving it away because someone has to kill this funnel lie once and for all. This isn't just about getting more leads, it's about reclaiming trust. Trust from sales, from the board, and from yourself. And if you stick with me till the end, I will show you how to replace your funnel with a signal web that accelerates conversion. How to operationalize GTM so sales never says this lead is junk again. And the exact system used to scale pipeline across software, IT services, and tech enabled businesses. I'm not selling hype, I'm handing you the weapon, right? But first, we need to understand the real reason your funnel failed. It's not because of bad execution, it's because sales never trusted you. Let me ask you something no one has dared to say out loud. Why should sales trust you? Because you built a content campaign, because you hit your MQL target, because your funnel is full of leads that downloaded an ebook on a Wednesday. Sales doesn't care about engagement, they care about urgency, they care about conversion energy. And all you gave them was fake readiness. It looked good in your dashboard, but it died in the deal room. And here is what most marketers don't want to admit: we lied, we told sales we were sending them pipeline, but we were sending them the email addresses. We were sending them the email clickers, webinar attendees, white paper downloaders. What we weren't sending was real intent, and sales knew it. That's why sales ignored your leads. According to several reports, 70 to 80% of leads passed from marketing to sales are never followed up. Not because sales is lazy, but because they don't trust our signals. And let's be honest, would you? If you were a salesperson? And tell me if this sounds familiar, right? You have spent 6 weeks building a campaign. You ran paid ads, targeting ads, content syndication, SEO, webinars, and all the works, right? You generate maybe 100, 150 leads in a quarter. You tag them as SQLs, and then sales said these leads are shit. You feel angry, you blamed sales, but deep down you knew they were right. Because the moment you send them a lead that is not actually ready, you have poisoned the well. And once the trust is broken, it doesn't come back. Sales has a language for this. Ignore marketing leads, right? Focus on your own accounts, right? Marketing is just chasing vanity. And they are not entirely wrong, right? The battlefield was never awareness. It was momentum, and you weren't building it. They didn't ignore you out of malice. They ignored you because you weren't helping them win. And in a high stake GTM motion, that's all that matters. I remember running a full funnel campaign for a mid-market SaaS brand. We generated 1,300 leads in 6 months, and with a CTR of about 5.2, and the cost per lead was abysmal, right? The cost per lead was, let's say, about $3, $4, right? Sales took about 100 of them, right? Closed 0, right? I went to my VP who was heading sales and marketing at that time and asked him why. He said, because I don't want my reps wasting time on curious marketers who are reading our blog post, right? I want people who are in pain, right? That moment kind of breaks you, right? But it also made me rethink everything, right? You think your job is to reach or content or brand, right? But that's not what the board cares about. That's not what the CEO cares about, right? That is not what the CEO is funding. You are measured on one thing and one thing only. Did your work move pipeline forward? If it's not, you're noise, no matter how pretty the funnel looks. So let me reframe this entire relationship, right? Trust from sales comes down to one thing. Did your signal lead to a deal they could close? Not clicks, not tofu, bofu, mofu. Trigger, urgency, action, and conversion, right? That's the only funnel they believe in. And in a minute, I'll walk you through the exact GTM system I have used to build the trust, the one that helps you to scale from 30 million to 100 million, 150 million, the one that will make sales chase marketing for once, the one that shows you don't need more leads, you need stronger signals. But first, let me show you what the system looks like. You have seen the funnel fail. We have felt the distrust. Now let me show you what to build instead. Why the best GTM teams on the planet are shifting to this system. It was never designed for this market, not for a multi-threaded B2B deals, not for 9-month sales cycle, not for selling transformation where timing and consensus matter more than the reach. The funnel told you marketing was linear, but the real world it's chaotic. Buyers don't move in stages, they move in moments, right? And if you didn't show up in those moments, you lose. Let's break it down. A 100 million GTM system, one that sales trust, has 3 moving parts: signal trigger, conversion bridge, sales activation moments. This is where the pipeline actually starts. Not when someone visits your homepage, but when something changes inside their world. A new VP is hired, they raise Series A, they start comparing vendors, they download your ROI tool, they hit a plateau, a usage plateau in a competitive product, they ask peers in Slack or Teams or Reddit about your category. This is your moment. If you waited for them to ask for a demo, you are 4 steps too late. You don't need a lead, you need a reason. A trigger is that reason. A trigger is useless if you don't give them a clear, low friction way to act on. That is where the conversion bridge comes in. It's not a form, it's not an ad. It is a psychological shortcut. I'll give you a couple of examples of conversion bridge build your business case calculator, or how others solve this tear down, right? Or a choose your path visual, or a one-on-one invite with a subject matter expert, a narrative case study mapped to their exact role. This isn't marketing fluff, it's a deal enablement. If signal is equal to urgency, then bridge is equal to action. And together you have momentum. Now, here is where most GTM teams lose it. They generate interest and then dump it in HubSpot. No follow through, no orchestration, just hope. That is why you need a sales activation moment, a trigger packet handed to sales like a heat seeking missile. What's in a sales activation moment? Trigger, what happened? Urgency signal, why now? Role specific pain, why this buyer matters, and asset path, right? What they consumed, and recommended CT, what sales should say or do. It's not lead routing, it's a deal ignition. This system doesn't just replace the funnel, it evolves with every trigger, with every buyer signal, with every sales feedback loop. Here is what that flywheel looks like in action. You get a trigger, conversion bridge, activation moment, feedback, new signals, repeat, right? Every time it runs, it gets smarter. Every time sales wins, marketing becomes more trusted. And this is not a campaign, it's a perpetual GTM engine. And here is how you should deploy this system inside your company starting Monday, right? In week 1, you look at your top 5 high conversion deals, you identify triggers and touch points, you interview sales for real readiness signals, you build trigger library, layer 1, 2, 3, which I have discussed in another video, design 3 conversion bridges per segment, job to be done framework, you use visual, interactive and testable assets, right? And then you create a sales activation template with dynamic trigger summaries. Then you connect it to a CRM or a customer data platform. You feed this signal data into a workflow, launch real-time control tower or pipeline momentum, right? And then weekly dashboard or signal-based forecast. This system isn't a trend, it's a correction to years of fake MQLs, to funnel myths, to marketing sourced blame games. It works because it matches how humans buy. It works because sales finally sees motion they can close. And it works because for the first time in years, you earn the trust back. I want to end this series with a challenge. You didn't come this far, 12 episodes, thousands of words and hours of reflection just to move a CTA button or tweak an MQL score. You are here because you know something is broken, you feel it. You have seen the sales team roll their eyes. You have pushed content that no one closes, and you have run campaigns that won awards but not deals. And you are done with that. If you take one thing from this entire series, let it be this: you are not a lead generator, you are not a funnel optimizer, you are not a demand janitor. You are the architect of momentum inside your company. And the longer you wear the old titles, demand gen manager, growth hacker, content specialist, the longer you stay trapped in the same game. A game where marketers beg for sales follow-up, where revenue is out of reach, where the business never sees you as strategic. That ends today, and here is the challenge, right? Go to your next meeting and erase the funnel from the board, burn it. Replace it with 3 questions. What signals tell us someone is ready? How do we help them act now? How do we transfer that momentum to sales instantly? If your answer is a form fill or a demo request, you are still in 2013. But if you map real triggers, design conversion bridges, and orchestrate activation moment, you have just built $100 million GTM engine. And don't just watch build it. This is not theory. This is how I scaled an IT services from 30 million to 150 million. How we build pipelines so healthy that everybody copies our GTM, and how I led through a technology services company through a successful acquisition. Not with gimmicks, but with systems like this. It works not because it's perfect, but because it aligns how buyers move with how sales work. That's the only job marketing has. So what can you do today, right? Send this video to your CEO, CRO, and sales leads, and ask them to watch this. And this is the system we need, right? Or ask them to pick one trigger this week and track it to pipeline. Not a lead, not a click, actual pipeline. And subscribe to this channel, because I'm building the next phase, workshops, tools, and unlisted strategy tear down. And you could also join my newsletter in the comments section. And until next time, cheers.